James's rules for a happy life. Step 1. When somebody invites you to drive their Lamborghini Gallardo, say yes. Step 2. When somebody says, do you want to come back and drive our Lamborghini again, but faster, you say, hell yes. And that's what I'm here to do today. I am back with, yes, it's that Lambo, the one that is currently being raffled off for £20. And I'm back here for a couple of reasons. You see, the gentleman that invited me down last time, Andy, runs the car limits driving experience days down here at Northwood Airfield. And the last video that we did was not perfect for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it was windy as hell. Number 2, it was very, very damp. And because this is an airfield, there are large patches of it which are covered in oil, aviation fuel, all sorts of unpleasant stuff, and it's not paved like a road, and as a result, the car did struggle with traction and other things just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to claim that this car is perfect, because it is not. It is an experienced car. That's what it does. Its entire life, more or less, has been taken up of giving people their first go in a Lamborghini, as it actually did for me. First ever drive of a Lambo. Now, many people saw the fact that the car was struggling over there, and they took that as meaning that the car was misfiring, and it therefore must be falling apart. Now, Andy could have gone one or two ways about this. He could have had a bit of a scream and a shout at me and gone, oh, these people are saying that my Lambo is falling apart, oh, you're going to ruin me, no one's going to want it now. And instead, he did the much more mature thing and said, no, it's not doing that at all. We know it's not doing that. I know it's not doing that. Come back and prove it. So, I'm back. I'm going to rig some cameras up. We're going to go for another drive. Now, first thing I want to address is this whole the car is misfiring thing. That wasn't happening at all. What you were hearing is the traction control kicking in over there. Now, I can tell you from experience, this is a working airfield. You have vintage aircraft all over the place, all the time, and it is very slick over there when it's wet. The Evora, I've driven this exact piece of road in before, and the Evora, you never ever have traction issues in, but here you do. Oh, the car pulls very strong. Now, I was supposed to have the instructor with me for the first couple of runs, so I'm not going to go very hard. Yeah, basically we're just doing a little practice course here. There's also a squeak in here, which is a bit, which I'm sure you can hear, and I just want to say, it wasn't here last time. They are still prepping the car for its new owner. What these guys are practicing for is for a little sprint series that's run here. So they're going along. We're doing a fairly quick left-hander, accelerate, brake, and turn to an almost, I think it's a decreasing radius corner. It's quite good. So they run this MSA sprint series here where they do sort of a brief time thing. The car, by the way, is also full of sellotape. You want to see some here and here and here because it's been all taped up when they've had experience days. You know, basically it's just said win this Lambo all over it. So yeah. I know this isn't a perfect car. This car will definitely need stuff done to it, but people seem to be looking at it, and look, we can do the maths. You know, it's £20 a ticket, 4,000 tickets, that's £80,000. Well, first off, 5% of all the proceedings are going to a charity anyway. Secondly, I'm fairly sure that Raffle, who are the people that are hosting the raffle, this is not hosted by these guys. They chose a third-party company. And also, these guys haven't asked me to say any of this stuff. He literally just said, come down and drive the Lambo again. But I thought I would say these things in this video rather than keep saying them in the comments a lot. It's a third-party company hosting the raffle. The raffle ends when all the tickets are sold, or there is a time limit attached to it as well. And if that isn't, you know, if the tickets don't sell, but they're already like 10% sold in the first couple of weeks anyway, they will then give out basically whatever cash was taken in, or most of the cash, as a you know, consolation prize, I guess. But ultimately, it's a potentially for someone a £20 Lamborghini. It's an awful lot of car for the money. See, car pulls fine. I'll rev it out next time round. I'm being really gentle here because the instructor's not in the car and he probably wants to be before I give it some properly. There you go. You run out to this is essentially a wall. So you come round. One thing that surprised me about this car, it's actually kind of comfy. Still on the firm side, no doubt, but nowhere near as bad as I thought. So we got an MGF, blue MGF over there. There's a GT86, 2 cars ahead, and in front of me is a 53 plate BMW 325 Ti, the compact. But it's got a cage in the back, so... What would I do if I won this car? I think, you know what I'd love to do with this car? I mean, I've always wanted to go out, especially a manual one. I would love to turn this into a track car. I'd have to sell the M3 so I could afford to have this, and I would do some silly things to it. I'd pre-wrap it. I do like the colour, but I don't love it, I don't think. So I'd make it a Larry colour and put some proper buckety seats in here, and just just tart it up, make it like a Superleggera replica or something like that, because that's like my dream supercar is a Gallardo Superleggera, but in a manual. But I don't think such a thing actually exists. I think it could be like the 360 Challenge Stradale. I think it could have been E-gear only. Alright, let's go. Second gear. Down, round. Yeah, it's when I pull this left-hander, I got a little warning light coming in. They're going to fix that. And full power. 5, 6, 7. That's 80 already. This car shifts. It really shifts. Oh, yes, give me some of this, please. Now I feel like I've driven a Lambo. Oh, that punch. Oh, I want this car. Okay, let's make a deal. If you're watching this and you've won this car because there's been some sort of terrible administrative error and I didn't get it, can you please let me have a go on the road? I would just absolutely love to know what this thing's like out on the road. I'll confess, last time I was maybe a touch disappointed at the fact that I didn't get to sort of drive the car a little more properly, but I completely understand because an experience day was being run at the time and they probably wouldn't want the experienced people thinking that what I was doing, messing around with a car, was what they were going to get. So today is a different kind of day. It's like a driver training day where, they've only got 3 cars here today, plus me. So these guys get a lot more time on track. Notice also we're not wearing helmets, because it's not that sort of thing. There's really not much to hit around here. Let's also talk about that hilarious, maintenance figure. So I said in the last video that this car's had 30 clutches, and that really is not a joke. This car has had 30 clutches, and they are not cheap to put in. I don't know exactly much, but I think it's over 5 grand. If you think about it, a Gallardo clutch, driven by someone that knows what they're doing on the road, they are known to sometimes last only about 8,000 miles or so. And everyone that gets in this car's driven for 3 to 4 miles, something like that, each time. And the person that gets in this car has never driven this car before. They have no idea how to handle the clutch. Some of them might have not even driven a manual for years, and they put their foot down, they give it the old, give it that, and then, clutch smoke, while it's faint, all that sort of stuff. So you go, traction struggling a little bit, and that's 750, 90 mile an hour, braking a bit, going through, bringing the car nice and out, just it fires through. Jesus, this is not a slow car. I mean, you get yourself into trouble quite quickly, and I suspect that is a thought always at the back of their minds when they run these things. I mean, this is possibly one of the slower cars they run here now. This is a weapon. I know, so this is the 490 horsepower. This is the early Gallardo. And if you've read the wiki about these things many times, like I would, people tell you, oh, well, see the later ones, they change them and they're a bit faster and they change the gearing, all that stuff. I did ask the guy about this and said, because the gearbox has had a lot of work done to it, it got rebuilt. A second needed rebuilding, which is not unsurprising because second gear is essentially what they're using for an awful lot of this stuff. And this thing shifts now. Just have some of this. Do that all day long. Seat is actually really comfy too. Like a lot of these cars, you look at the seats, you look at them, you think, oh, that's supportive, maybe you need buckety kind of seats. But for road driving, actually, it's lovely and nice and leathery, and it's this kind of weird mixture of things. There's loads of leather. It does feel really Italian in here. I like all the gauges. So I set this little camera up here. He's hopefully still running, so you can see all this kind of stuff as well. Like, oh, this is just nice. Like, really, really nice in here. Yeah, I could do it a good clean, which is gonna get, I'm sure, before it actually gets handed over to whoever the lucky new owner is. But they are going to be lucky. They are going to be really lucky. I'd probably like repaint some of the door trims or rewrap them maybe in whatever colour the exterior went. I think Lambos should always be in nutty colours. You know, I mean, this is not bad. I mean, it could be like silver or black or something. Like yellows, reds, greens, oranges. I suppose nowadays orange is sort of the McLaren colour. But I really enjoy this car. Let's give it a bit more on the next run, shall we? I wonder if the stereo is any good. Channel my inner Stig. So, okay, tell me what you guys would do. What would you do if you had this Lambo? This Lambo manifested itself on your driveway for the princely sum of 20 quid. What would you would you just sell it on? Use the cash to buy something else? Let's say this is a 50 grand car. Let's be fair to it. This is a 50 grand car. What would you buy instead? You know, it'd be a tough choice. I mean, I very nearly bought one of these instead of my Lotus, but it was the maintenance costs and things that kind of scared me off. But then if I paid 20 quid for it, I think I probably I wouldn't hold it against the car if it suddenly demanded some money out of me. I do love it. I think the Huracan has never really done the same for me as this does. And this is a small car. I harp on all the time. All the time. I know I'm a broken record in my videos about cars getting bigger. This thing is not. I think somewhere I read this is the same footprint. It was like a Focus. Something like that. Here we go. Second. Third. And brake. And turn. Throttle gently. Miss the cones. And over. And down into second. So what I'm doing at the minute, guys, is Andy, who runs the place, has kindly come out with me, and he's showing me just a couple of the little things that they teach when they do their driver training days. You will do with your own vehicle, and it's a great way of learning a few interesting things. I've done this before. I did this with my Evora years ago, and I did make a video of that at the time, and they get you to do some things that you really wouldn't think should work and don't feel right, but they do actually work, because surprise, surprise, they actually do know what they're doing here, and they do this all the time. So, and it's very interesting. It's just a simple exercise, kind of. It's amazing how much you can learn from just turning left in a car. Obviously, always fun to be doing it in a Lamborghini, but yeah. So, there's a little bit of a promotion for them, and the details of what they do. They call car limits. Will be in the description below as always. But that's kind of it for me for today in the Lamborghini. It's been a great time. Thanks again to the guys for bringing me down here, of course. Don't forget, you can win the car, obviously. 20 quid. It's a lot of fun. I promise I won't break it. See you for the next one. Bye-bye.